Well, hello everybody, welcome from Brambletye again. We did say on our last video, on our last vlog, that we were going to have a little chat about what's been happening. So here we are in the olive grove and we're having a chat, aren't we, Steve?
Well, we're going to. Hello everybody. It's been a little while, but anyway, back to you.
Well, we haven't stopped. You can imagine we might not have shown you anything over the past couple of weeks, but we have been very, very busy. And I think really we should talk about the building. We should talk about Brambletye first, talk about the farmhouse, talk about the stones, and what exactly have we been doing over the past couple of weeks, Steve?
Well, the building's going very well. Obviously we've started to put the internal corner stones on the inside of the frame that we've put on over the last few months, and they're going quite well. And also we've been shaping a couple of them stones. The foundation at the base of the house, which is now revealed because we've dug down, is wider by about 100 mil than the top of the house. So halfway up, if you can imagine, or a third of the way up, the wall gets marginally thinner, which means one of those stones, what I've decided to do instead of having a little shelf, is to actually scallop it out. So that's been quite interesting. I've enjoyed that. Made a couple of tools from what we've had.
That was quite hard work though, curving that stone.
Yeah, well, you had a go at it as well.
I didn't have a go at the curving, I had a go at the tapping, didn't I? It was the tapping of the aging of the stones.
Yeah, one of the things frustrates me about Lynn is that there's me looking at every hit I'm doing on the stone, and there's Lynn knocking a tune out with her little hammer that I've given to her.
And how many stones, if I was to tell you, I had my little hammer and I was going tap, 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 tap.
Anyway,
different music.
Yeah.
I'll stop on that note. But basically, I think I managed to do one stone, and even that one stone wasn't a completed stone because you had to finish it off for me. And how many stones did you do in the meantime?
Well, 2 or 3, but
I did have a go.
What I was doing is you're shaping each stone as you're going along, and you're trying to get it into, well, 2 stones in particular, into quite a steep curve. And obviously the stones need slight treatment on them anyway. All of the stones came out of the house, but they've come out from various positions. And also each stone has been chiselled to 105 degrees. And that is to allow, when the door opens from the doorway, for the door handle to sit inside the house without making the door sit at a back angle, so you didn't hit it as you walked out into the terrace, if you understand all that.
You can probably hear from Steve's description how meticulous and how careful he is when he's handling the stones and he's doing the work for us on this house.
I think we need to be...
No, but this is right though, this is what you're doing. You're doing it for us, and it's amazing that, you know, you're skilled in that.
But a lot of people have said a lot of things, and all I'm trying to do is just take care on what I'm doing. And if there's anything wrong with these stones, when it's finished, it is going to stand out. I don't mind something that was there originally, just leaving it, that's fine. But here, we're making something new to put into the house. The downstairs has never been lived in, and I just want to make the entrance look as, I guess, as tidy, without too many bits and bobs on it, and keep it simple, I would say.
And when you're talking about keeping it simple, we had quite a bit of a discussion over the past week or so in relationship to the top section, because obviously we've got the cornerstones either side, which obviously they're shown on the inside, and we've decided that they will remain as a reveal basically, but the top section we've been discussing as to what to do there.
Well, the idea was whether we put over a stone completely over to join the 2 sets of stones together. If you've seen where my hands are here, a stone going right over the top and capping the last 2 stones.
And that's the curvature of the wall, really, isn't it?
It is roughly. We can't. What we're talking about is the ceiling above,
yes.
So the vaulted ceiling. So there's 2 curves there. Vaulted ceiling curve and the curve of possibly having something capping the stones. Now those 2 curves, although they're related, they don't follow the same path. which for me, I'm not sure I really like,
Well,
because we don't want to take away from what the vaulted ceiling gives us.
And so basically we've got some ideas on that, and you'll probably see that in the future. But the next stage that we are really concerned about is the walls, the internal walls of downstairs. And we've been out this week looking at steel mesh. Is that the right description?
Yeah, well,
steel mesh?
The planning is that you've either got to have the strengthening on the outside of the wall, or the strengthening on the inside of the wall, to comply with seismic regs. So that's the earthquake regulations. We just had an earthquake this week as well, up north in Italy, and it's those medium-sized earthquakes that the regulators are trying to control with new building regs. Obviously, large earthquakes of any kind are going to damage walls of any consistency, unless they're made out of solid reinforced concrete, foot thick, whatever.
So basically that kind of puts everybody slightly up to date with what we're doing on the house side of things, on the building side.
I didn't quite answer the reason why we were looking for the steel.
No, so sorry.
So
internally I mentioned walls.
So the next job inside the house, we'll start that pretty quickly now, and that's using that steel mesh, the kind of stuff you see in foundations, and that actually goes on the wall, and you tie it onto the wall with metal rods and small wire ties.
But when you say it's similar to what was on the foundations, this particular steel, because I've just learnt that this week, is the squares are actually smaller. The squares
so
in the steel are smaller than the ones that you would use on foundation.
They're either 100 or 120, which is 100 or 120, and 0.5, so that's 0.5 steel thick, and that's steel mesh, which is actually spot welded together. So that's got a degree of strength in that, and that's what's on the project. We have to use.
But that is literally the future job that you're about to sort of embark on, really.
Yeah.
But can we move on to something different?
We can.
And what also happened, I had a birthday, and
that's always a big event.
It is. Well, it's another year notched up, I suppose. But on the other side of it is, we do tend in Brambletye. Well, Steve and I have for the past years. Instead of just having a birthday day, we try to make it last for at least a week.
Yeah, well, Lynn, if she had her way,
probably lasts for a whole year, never mind a month.
She'd try to stretch it out even longer, I can assure you. So I've got to rein in the birthday week a little bit.
But the birthday week, in some respects, gives you a little break as well from the building side of things.
A little.
So if I was to tell you roughly what's happened during the birthday week, we had a lovely evening. Steve cooked for me. You made a fabulous meal, a fish meal.
Yeah, it's based on a bacala and pomodoro, so that's salted cod, which is preserved cod, pomodoro, which is passata, and it's particularly this one was from Puglia. It's made with black olives.
Had potatoes in as well, didn't it?
And potatoes as a
bulk,
as a filler in the meal. But it's like I said, it's a meal that's designed in Puglia. Super scrummy. Lynn made the tomato sauce, I believe.
The passata.
And it was gorgeous.
That was actually one of the ones I made with Angela. But talking about the passata,
tasty.
We actually had, in fact, including us, we had 10 people, and we had our meal in the olive grove, and it was a fabulous evening. And then we ended up with dessert at our local hotel down the road restaurant, which was even more scrummier, the dessert, tiramisu, etc.
Yeah, the passing Italians in the village often see us at a table underneath the olive grove, and I think we're the only ones that do it here, and they do laugh as they go by. It must be quite a sight seeing a bunch of people sitting under the olive trees, which is
with solar lights on and candles,
which is where they're normally farming. What I've noticed that when you get a few people around a table, if they're English, it's quite enchanting, but if they're Italian, they feel a tad embarrassed until they've got into it, and then they enjoy it.
But our conversation and our group of friends was a mixture of Italian, Swiss, English.
Yeah.
There was a real mixture amongst the table, and the important thing I really need to mention is I got given a fabulous cake. Oh, you've got the little card. Thank you, Steve. It's called Torta de Lupa, and it was delivered to me as a gift. And this cake, well, actually, you actually loved the cake for one particular reason alone.
Yeah, well, it's made with Montepuliciano wine. Anyway, it translates torta. Obviously, that's the cake. De lupa, which is the wolf. Obviously, the cake has been designed around the region, I think.
Yeah,
with wolves. Not that there's any wolves in it.
But this particular area, Pretora, which is just behind us up here, they do have wolves there, and we've actually seen a wolf last year in amongst the snow. But no, it was a great birthday celebration that one particular night. Throughout the week, we actually visited the beach several times. We went to Ortona, we went to San Vito.
Got the end of the summer sun.
We did, and swim as well, which was great.
So the sun sits quite low on the beach at about 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, and it's just perfect. It's about 26 degrees until it disappears, and it's gorgeous. It's just the nicest sun to be. It's not too hot. The water's still warm. You can go for a swim.
I mean, we were sitting on the beach, and you could see the beach going into sort of shade, but it was still warm, and it was beautiful. And the skies, those particular evenings, those wonderful red colour and everything in the sky. And the other thing was, during the week, Button got some grooming. You did some grooming from Button. You might have seen her get her hair cut, but she didn't get hair cut this time.
No, well, knowing that we would have gone to the beach a couple of times, I decided to cut Button's toenails. They grow very, very quickly, and they're very, very sharp still. And if I cut them, she lets me do it without any problem. I'm going to pop a bit of video in there anyway showing that. And then when we take her down to the beach, she can sandpaper them off on the pebbles.
on the pebbles,
and she's done for a few more weeks, which is great. I love it when we can do that. And we take her down there, and she really starts running and grinding on the pebbles with her paws.
Yeah, and she loves it. And one particular gift I also got, I got my own passata making machine, didn't I, Steve? We don't normally buy each other any form of machinery of any description, anything with a plug on or anything. Mind you, the passata machine doesn't have a plug on.
Doesn't have a plug on.
But we don't normally. But one of my gifts from Steve this year was my own passata making machine. So I actually did manage to make some passata.
And well done, Amazon, for delivering it.
They were good. They were good.
Within 24 hours to the Italian countryside. Absolutely fantastic. And it was the real machine. It wasn't some makeshift Diddy-Coy machine.
It was a proper Italian machine.
Proper Italian stainless steel, so they call it inox here. Lovely, great.
So basically, as Steve sort of slightly touched on the change of the weather, that started to impact on the vegetable garden, because we have had the most incredible crop of vegetables throughout the summer, and the tomatoes in particular, which you probably, those of you that follow us on Facebook and everything, as maybe a member of our Brambletye group, have seen these wonderful tomatoes that we've had, and the courgettes and the peppers and the chilies and all of the vegetables, but they're just now starting to change with the weather.
Yeah.
And that's why the passata making machine was fantastic. And even yesterday I made my own tomato ketchup, which we had with our English breakfast this morning.
Yeah, so you make it a bit like you make passata, really.
Yeah,
I guess
you did.
Make it with passata sauce, and then if you want to keep it, put it in a bain-marie. So there's hot water, let it cool down, new lids on bottles and all that sort of thing.
Definitely.
But how many bottles of passata did we get? Because I don't know. I don't know what the end.
Well, basically, I've made sort of quite large containers of passata, and we have at the moment, we've got about 15. So we've got quite a bit, and I've still got some tomatoes on the the plants, and I've asked for some information because I wasn't quite sure what to do with some of our green tomatoes.
So what you're saying is we could get maybe 2 pasta meals out of one bottle?
Easily, we can get 2 meals out of one of ours. That's 30 meals.
That's 30 mils. Let me tell you, folks, this passata sauce is
very rich.
Is very rich. It's nothing like supermarket bought passata, and obviously we quite like that anyway. This is just on a different level, a much higher level, a much better quality. It's like having a fine cigar instead of a cheap cigar. That's how I can explain it.
And you haven't had a fine cigar for a little while.
Been a long time.
Maybe Steve's got a birthday coming up. Maybe he might get a fine cigar for his birthday. It hasn't got a plug on it. That's all I can say. A cigar hasn't got a plug on it.
My hair grows out another half an inch.
Now, we've touched on we've just sort of said something a little bit about the weather change, but then the other things that we've noticed with the weather changes, here we are sitting in the olive grove again, and normally we would pick the olives in November. Generally the first week
Third or
of
fourth of November.
First week of November is when we pick our olives. Well, this year, folks, I think we're going to be picking the olives maybe in the next week or 2 weeks, because behind us and around us, the olive trees are now starting to turn. The olives are now starting to go that darker green, that nearly black. I don't know whether I can sort of get up off my seat. I think I'll just get up off my seat and see what we've got behind me. So just bear with me, everybody.
I don't know what it is about the way the olives grow, but we're fortunate enough here to have subterranean water which comes underneath the ground, which means that we don't have to do any watering. We wouldn't anyway, because water's important.
I don't know whether they can see this or not, Steve.
Well, I guess if I hold it up to my hand, you maybe see an olive there, but I'm feeling the olive, and I can feel it pressing like a grape now.
Yeah, the thing is, olives contain obviously the oil of the olive, but it also contains water, and we haven't had so much water, so it'll be interesting to see what the yield produces, because in fact when we take it eventually to get pressed, they will tell us the quality of our olives.
It's funny, the olives look smaller, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're any worse quality. In fact, they could be better quality because they don't contain as much water. So obviously we get a percentage yield against the amount of kilos that we take. What we're looking for is about 14.5 yield, so 14.5 kilos of olive oil to 100 kilos of olives. So that would be roughly a kilo of olive oil is about a litre.
Yes, so that's the olives. And then the other thing that, Steve bought me one year for a present, a pomegranate tree. Can you remember?
I can,
You did. And you had it all nicely dressed with a little bow.
It was only a little thing.
And it wasn't very big. Well, anyway, the pomegranate tree, in fact, I think I would describe it as a bush, has grown fabulous.
Put anything in the ground here, it just grows.
And it is growing. So the pomegranate, we have lovely red juicy pomegranates. I'm so sorry I haven't got one in front of me to show you, but they are super. And the other thing, I do realise that Button likes pomegranate juice.
It's the first year, isn't it, that we've had a good selection of pomegranates, and all big and all red.
We have over a dozen pomegranates on this small tree that we've actually got, small bush. And also I have been picking walnuts.
Yep.
I do say we have got one walnut tree, but it hasn't produced any walnuts this year.
But there's plenty around.
But there are lots as you just go walking with Button. We find them on the ground, you find them on the trees. So I've now got a nice little container full of walnuts, and we've had a walnut cake this week that I made. And I think really that's kind of all our vegetables and everything that's sort of going on. And I will be planting winter vegetables. Which obviously will be the cabbages, broccoli, cauliflower. I'm also planting Brussels sprouts, because we can't find Brussels sprouts very easily.
Be interesting to see if they grow, because
and
the ground
we would
needs
like
to be,
that.
The ground needs to be cold.
Yeah, the ground needs to be cold. The other thing is we can't grow, and we've mentioned it before, parsnips. But anyway, that's another story. So I think people might be wondering what else we've been doing this week. And we've done a favourite thing. One of your favourite things.
Go on.
You didn't taste it at the time, but we visited somewhere that produced something that you love.
Is this a quiz?
Well, it could be. Have you got it? He couldn't taste it at the time.
Well, let's get on with this. Right, so it's red Montepuliciano wine.
Yeah, we did touch on it, because we touched on it from the Torta de Lupa has Montepuliciano wine. But
I have mentioned it a couple of times in the last few vlogs, but also I've always mentioned I like a nice glass of Montepuliciano wine. You can get Montepuliciano wine anywhere in the world, but a decent glass from where it is really made. It's here.
And it's not just Montepuliciano wine, it's Montepuliciano de Abruzzo, because that is the important thing.
Well, we've been lucky enough to have been invited to one of the local wineries. Probably Erica, you know better. I think Lynn knows Erica better than I do.
Well, Erica kindly invited us to see the picking of the Montepuliciano wine, knowing that Steve actually likes the wine and I like the wine. And
but we don't want to say too much.
No, but basically she's invited us to go, and that's going to be on next vlog that's coming out after this one.
Yeah, we've got quite a lot of film in the can, let's say. It's 20 or 30 hours to edit the films that we do, the vlogs that we do, and obviously that's going to be out sort of directly after this one. So midweek we'll be running through the Montepuliciano grape and its history, certainly in this region, and what we got up to.
Definitely. And also what you did manage to do, Button actually didn't come along with us while we were picking the grapes there.
No, there's cats and dogs there, and it would be unfair to them. So.
Yeah, it would be unfair for Button, but also Steve did take the drone with him, and that was brilliant. Yeah, so hopefully you like what we like, because we had some good, I thought you got some good footage on the drone.
Yeah, some good drone experiences. The winery's on a hillside, so there's challenges there with the wind. It's always a little breezy, and we certainly struggled, but we got some good shots anyway, which I hope you'll see.
Okay, and obviously that's given you a sort of abridged version of sort of what we've been doing over the past couple of weeks, but really that's not everything.
No.
Because we all know what's been happening in the UK with the funeral and the services, because we might be in Italy but we're also involved with it as well, and we've actually been watching it and watching what's been happening. And those of you who have been following us over a period of time are probably aware of Steve's background. So Steve has been invited throughout the past couple of weeks to get involved.
Yeah,
so I really need to sort of get you to speak on this now, Steve.
What happens when there's something that happens like this is that you get many news stations, many media agencies throughout the world tend to contact me and want a story that I can give.
Related.
Security related. In this I decided to stick with the people that I know, the main news stations, so mainly sort of Sky News, CNN, BBC, stuff like that, so that I know what I'm saying is going to be used in the correct manner. We're all sad about the Queen. It's a finality which none of us really probably wanted to see, and I think for that reason it's quite hard to talk in front of a live camera for any length of time. So I tried to do many short pieces, and it worked out quite nicely. I'll pop one or two bits in, but the vlog's not about that, but just to show a bit of respect, I think. That's why we've added it into this vlog.
Definitely. And really, you might be wondering where Button is at the moment. Everybody asks about Button, and when I return comments to everybody, I always have to include Button, because she gets quite a lot of comments, and she's lying down here by my feet, fast asleep. Button is just a contented dog, I think. She's sociable, she's contented, she just loves to be involved.
I always knew when I saw Button as a puppy that she would turn out to be a great dog. And all owners call their dogs great, I know that. But she really is turning out to be a great dog. And as we learn more Italian every week, I swear Button learns with us, and more English words as well. She's responding in different ways every week. She seems to take on a vocabulary which you don't even realise that she's actually learning, and it's quite phenomenal. Really pleased with, if she wants to learn the English language, that's fine. That's fine. But it's very strange. Maybe she's learning
Italian quicker than what we are.
I've never known saying to a dog, please get in the shade because the sun's too hot, and she'll walk into the shade. I've never known that. I've never known a dog that does that. So if anybody has got a dog that does something because they've been asked to do it with what I would call a word that a dog shouldn't really know, the word shade, then let us know your comments. That'd be great.
It's probably how we pronounce it, but it is quite funny.
But she does just get up and walk into the shade.
And it's quite interesting. I did post on Facebook the other day about how Button loved the pomegranate juice, which she did. And then I got a reply from another lady, and she mentioned about her dog absolutely loved pomegranates, was eating pomegranates off the bush, and looked like that the lips of the dog had lipstick on. And it's those little things, the connections that we are making with people. They're small connections. They're connections, whether it's with the stones, the garden.
It's funny, there
are so many things.
Last year I saw Button taking the flowers off.
Yes.
So the flowers are the precursor to the actual fruit.
Pomegranate, yeah.
I've not seen her pull the pomegranate off, but now she's had a good sniff there.
Maybe she might.
I wouldn't be surprised. She can definitely reach the pomegranates, and she can definitely dig into them.
And she definitely sits there when I'm cracking the walnut stones, waiting for her little bit of walnut.
Yeah.
Sort of a tiny bit for her, and the rest goes into the container. But I hope this is sort of giving you a recap of our past couple of weeks. I hope you've had great weeks wherever you are and whatever you've been doing, because, well, we don't stop. Every day's different. We never know what's going to happen.
We've had some exhausting days, like everybody has, and I guess that's what you call a good day.
Yeah, and also thank you for all the wonderful comments that we are getting, whether it's on the YouTube channel and also on the Facebook, because we want you to be involved with what we are doing, and it's lovely to hear that you're enjoying our journey, our adventures, just as much as we do.
We get lots of people requesting what they want to see and what they like, and probably a bit of what they don't like, but when you can't please everybody all the time. When you put yourself out there, it's always going to happen, isn't it? Your music's too loud, your music's too low. I mean, what do you do? Anyway, we're listening. That's what I will say. We do listen to all the comments.
And we're trying to improve all the time.
Yeah, we're trying to improve quality. We'll be looking at that over the next 6 months now, particularly with filming, with rendering and output,
editing package,
editings and all that sort of thing. So really know what direction we want to go in. We've had a good 8 months to know how this is all going, and it's going fantastically well. Oh, fabulous. And all I can say is, Steve, your muscles are doing really well. You may have had a little break during my birthday, but I can see more work ahead. They get older every day. But no, we'll start kicking the videos out as normal, and obviously the building work needs to push forward. We've got 3 good months ahead of us in terms of weather. Yeah. Well, that's what we think. I mean, the weather's changing all the time. Well, some of my best building months have been December and January. Yeah. And also, you've got to remember, everybody, we've got to pick our olives. So that's coming up as well. That's another vlog. If you haven't picked olives, you might find it interesting. It is hard work, but we do need food at the end of the day, and we have a really good meal with probably a glass of montepuliciano, if not more. Well, on that note, we should probably wind it up. I think we should. Wind it up. I'm not sure. Anyway, I never heard that. Next week is the wine vlog. Watch out for it. Anyway, it's goodbye from Lynn. Goodbye from me. And goodbye from Miss Button, who you can't even see, fast asleep. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Goodbye. What do you think? Yeah. Sorry. There was a lot there, wasn't there? Well, it needs to be a lot there. Yeah, there was a lot. Makes a video. Which is good. Makes a vlog. Yeah. So these, when you squeeze it at the moment, there's nothing really coming out of it. But that's what I'm saying. Most of it will be water, you see. Yeah. But the oil's there. So there's not. No. So what I'm saying is, at the moment, so they're not ready to pick yet. No. No, I don't think. The police are looking out for anything that's extraordinary. Expect the unexpected. It's something that they're trained to do in an event like this. And there will be several different agencies, snipers on the roof, sniffer dogs will have been working over the past week, time and time again, sniffing the same areas, drain hole covers, lampposts that have got small doors in, you name it, this will be no stone uncovered.